Welcome to session 1 of 7 in your kvCore basic training brought to you by the Leaders Edge Network. My name is Deanna Faye Brown. I am the team leader of the Connection Realtors Mega Icon team, brokered by eXp Realty, and a member of the Leaders Edge Network. My goal today is to start you on a 7-week journey to learn, understand, and leverage the kvCore platform that is available to you as a real estate agent with eXp Realty. So how will we tackle kvCore? Realize that there are a number of resources available to you to understand and to train on this platform. Within eXp's network, you can go to eXp University and Workplace to get questions answered, to watch training videos that start with the most basic and progress to the more advanced user. You can also go outside of eXp's network and find a number of resources on the internet, including a ton of YouTube content that will help you understand and master kvCore. Even beyond that, you can find resources that for a fee will help establish and then manage your kvCore on an ongoing basis. If you're here with me today, you're committing to wanting to understand this platform, wanting to break it up into smaller pieces, and really take the time to get it to start working for you in your business. Realize that the pace here is going to be slow. That is by design. We're going to take the next 7 weeks to break kvCore down into manageable components where you can concentrate on one component at a time, learn some information here, take that information back, do some exploring on your own in your own kvCore platform, and then you'll have action items. You'll have homework to help you really put a plan into action in your business. So what is kvCore? kvCore is a 4-faceted platform. It's important for me to point out that if you were to go and purchase this platform, obtain your own subscription outside of your relationship with eXp, you would likely pay somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 a month for that subscription. You, as a member of eXp Realty, are receiving kvCore included in your $85 monthly tech and education fee. Let me say that again. kvCore is included in your $85 tech and education fee. So what are those 4 facets? First, kvCore is going to be your public-facing website. Second, it's going to be your customer relationship management tool, where you will build a database of clients, customers, contacts, family, friends, and vendors, and you will manage relationships using kvCore. kvCore is also a lead generation tool, looking to identify potential buyers and sellers in the real estate marketplace and drive them to your website and your business to hopefully build a relationship. And then finally, kvCore is a campaign builder, bringing some automation and organization to the process of relationship management to help take some of the heavy lifting out of this process. So let's go ahead and get started. As I already mentioned, kvCore is available to you as part of your $85 tech and education fee with eXp Realty. However, you will not automatically receive login credentials to kvCore. You have to actually take steps to request activation of your account. To do that, you'll want to start in eXp Enterprise. In your Google or preferred internet browser, you'll want to go to expenterprise.com and you'll want to log in using your eXp Passport credentials. This would be your eXp email address and the password that you set at the conclusion of your onboarding. Once you're at your dashboard, refer to the menu on the left-hand side of Enterprise and look for Optional Services. Under Optional Services, you will see kvCore. When it is your first time coming to this spot in Enterprise, there will be a button on the right-hand side to sign up. Go ahead and click that to request your account. Be sure to identify your primary MLS when you submit that activation request. You'll notice that it does reference here a 7 to 10 business day turnaround time to get that activation. In most cases, in practice, I've seen the turnaround limited to maybe 1 to 2 business days. It's not a guarantee, but I'm telling you in most cases, in reality, it's much less than 2 weeks' time. If you've already requested activation of your account, you won't see the sign up button, but instead you'll see a message similar to mine, indicating that the activation has already been requested and that the account has been created. Once you've gone ahead and activated the account, you're ready to get started in kvCore. Once you receive confirmation that your kvCore account has been activated, you'll want to open your web browser and head to kvcore.exprealty.com. When you get to this login screen, be sure to bookmark it so you have quick and easy access going forward. Now, to log into kvCore, you're going to use your eXp Realty email address, but this will not leverage your Passport login credentials. You'll need to create a separate password for kvCore. Once you create that password and log in, you'll come to a dashboard screen that looks like this. The dashboard screen is going to be task-driven, giving you essentially your to-do list for the day in order to maintain contact with your past and present clients, with your friends and family contacts, with your prospective leads, your active leads, based on the campaigns and the programs that you set up and put into action in kvCore. Because we've never logged in before, you're going to see that your dashboard obviously looks pretty empty. As you build out those contacts and build out those campaigns, this dashboard will continue to populate with action items, with task items for you. Now let's take a few minutes to walk around the block and just see all that's available to us from the dashboard screen. If you take a look at the menu on the left-hand side of your dashboard screen, you'll see there are a number of subcategories where we can move and navigate through kvCore. Below the dashboard, you're going to have playbooks. Playbooks is exactly what you would expect it to be, a section where kvCore has simplified and automated some of the more common practices and activities that users rely upon and made them easy to access and easy to implement here under playbooks. Below playbooks, you have Smart CRM. Remember that we said that kvCore is a robust client or customer relationship management tool. That's CRM. So here under Smart CRM is where you will manage your database, where you'll import contacts, add or delete contacts, and make changes, all here under Smart CRM. Under listings, you should understand that with kvCore, you'll have the ability to leverage your listings or the entire eXp brokerage's listings for your geographic area, but you'll also have the ability to do some manual customization with listings that either pull into your marketing materials, your campaigns, or your website. And that happens here under listings. Under marketing, marketing is where you will build out your campaigns to be able to touch your client base and to work your leads. And it's also the section where you can generate a very robust and interactive CMA. And we will spend time in a future session talking about that as well. Lead engine is where we will spend the most time, and that will come primarily the second half, the last 2 to 3 sessions of our 7-week stretch. Just as with any machine, it's the engine that helps it to run. Lead engine is where we're going to talk all about lead generation, how to draw traffic to you and your website and your business, leveraging kvCore. Transactions in kvCore, you do have the ability to track and manage your transactions. Given that so many of us in the Leaders Edge network are active not only in SkySlope, but also in other platforms such as Dotloop or DocuSign to manage the compliance and progress of a transaction, I am not going to spend any time in our 7 weeks really talking about this particular component of kvCore. We will spend a good amount of time on web and IDX. This is where you're going to customize your website, add your personality and your personal touch, add photos, create your blogs, and really customize your website to be a true reflection of you and your business. We'll spend more time there in our next session. The marketplace. It's important that you know about the marketplace because you have a base subscription to kvCore, which is in and of itself very robust. But there are a number of opportunities where you can expand on that subscription and build in additional services or functionality, and you'll need to know about the marketplace in order to do that. Next, we have business analytics. This speaks for itself. This is going to be the metrics section. It's going to help you gauge your productivity, your lead conversion, and your success with kvCore. And then finally, on the left-hand side, we have support and training. Again, this is also self-explanatory, but there are a number of robust resources right here within your kvCore platform, including pre-recorded trainings and webinars that you can access at any time to be able to get questions answered and get additional support on how to best leverage the functionality here in this tech platform. As we continue to work our way around the screen and move over to the bottom right-hand corner, I'll point out this little chat feature, which will really come in handy. If you have a question or are getting stuck and want to get some immediate assistance, you can leverage the chat by simply clicking on this conversation board. A window will open up and you'll have the ability to either search for a topic or start a conversation with a support representative who can provide further assistance. Note that sometimes, just like when we saw with the activation process, a 7 to 10 business day turnaround, sometimes when I've leveraged the chat, I've seen like 1 day turnaround for responses. But again, my actual reality is much different than what they publicize as an expected turnaround time. I typically get my questions answered very quickly when I leverage the chat. And another great feature is that if I have to step away, I don't have to worry about missing the representative. That chat or that response will come to me to my EXP email as well, so that I can continue the conversation to pursue my question and get my answer through email. I don't have to sit at my computer and wait for that answer to come. Okay? Now we're going to move up to profile, and this is where we're going to spend the rest of our time today really talking about how to activate our profile with kvCore. So let's get to it. Let's start tackling your profile. Up in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you're going to want to click on your name. Before we start populating additional components of our profile, we want to take a look at these 3 pieces of information listed at the top. There will be a phone number, email address, and domain name. Let's take these in each in order. First, the phone number. First time logging into kvCore, the number that you see here will be a shared smart number. And when I say shared, I mean it will be shared by everyone else in your state that participates in kvCore. I'm going to click on this section for phone to explain this a little bit further. So when a lead comes into EXP, any kvCore user in New Jersey, if that lead relates to an EXP listing in New Jersey, that lead will go to all users associated with EXP in New Jersey in a round-robin fashion. That's good when you are on the receiving end because you have the opportunity to receive free leads from EXP listings. However, in your ability to build campaigns that involve text messages or text alerts, you will be limited in what you can do in responding from this number through text message. And it could impact your ability to maintain that lead as your own. There could be some interference because of the round robin aspect of this smart number. If you were to purchase your own personal smart number, you can default all of your text campaigns and text alerts to your personal number so that anytime a client or a contact responds by text or responds to the alerts, it'll come back to you personally, and you don't run the risk of that communication being shared with other agents. I strongly encourage that you consider the use of a personal smart number. Remember, we talked about the marketplace. If this is something that interested you, you would go to the marketplace, scroll down to the smart number add-on. This is going to be an additional cost beyond the $85 monthly tech and education fee. Typically, I think it's about $27, but I think money well spent. Give this strong consideration. It takes typically 1 to 2 days for your request to be processed. You will have to provide payment information, and that goes directly to kvCore. That doesn't go through EXP. And then you'll be assigned, and you'll have the ability to make some decisions around the number that you choose, like area code and so forth. Okay? And then once that number is activated, you'll be able to see it in your kvCore profile and identify it as your primary smart number on your account. Next, you're going to have your eXp Realty email address. That's self-explanatory. Have to make no change or adjustment there. The last thing I want to show you is your website domain. At this point, you're going to want to go ahead and click on that domain to launch your website. When the website launches, it will still look like much of the generic form and content. I've already done some customization, and you'll get to that point where you'll be able to do this for yourself. The important thing that I want you to concentrate on at this point is scrolling all the way down to the bottom of your landing page. However your landing page looks, the bottom will conclude with a compliance section that will look something like this. It will have their real estate office address, and then it will have disclaimers for the MLS. You want to make sure here that the MLS reflected on your landing page is your primary MLS. There are cases on occasion where this is not properly represented, and then what happens is the properties that are pulling into your website are different from the properties that you geographically cover. So for example, actually when my account was first activated, I was connected with, I believe it was Garden State MLS. I'm in South Jersey, and because I was tied to Garden State MLS from kvCore, it was pulling in all central and northern New Jersey properties into my website. So there was a bit of a mismatch between what I was saying, what areas I said I covered, and what it looked like I covered. So make sure you address that now. If you need assistance and are having an issue, if there is a mismatch for you, you simply want to go to that chat button that we talked about and start a chat and get some assistance and support from a representative who can make the correction for you. That's not something that you can do yourself. Okay, so once you get through those 3 pieces of information, we're ready to really dive into the profile. At this point, you're ready to click on My Profile. To continue along with our profile, once you've looked at those 3 pieces of information, you'll want to now scroll down and find the button that says Edit Profile. This will open up the fields on the profile screen to allow you to drag and drop a photo and populate some of the additional pieces of information that will then either translate to your email campaigns or to your website. So let's go through them. First, once you click on Edit Profile, you want to make sure that you drag and drop a photo to remove those, the standard initials that will populate in its place, okay? It's very easy to update your profile. So even if you only have a temporary photo, if you're still waiting to finalize a current photo shoot or something, put something in there as a placeholder so that you can start to personalize your site and get a feel for how some of the other components of kvCore work with a photo populated. Okay? Your name will obviously already be indicated. Then you're going to be able to give yourself a title. I went ahead and described myself as Mega Icon Team Leader with a straight line separator, which can be found right above the Enter key, followed by the name of my team, Connection Realtors. Now let me just show you quickly how that translates to my website. When I give myself that title, whatever I describe in that field is going to populate here, directly under my name on my website. If there's a particular location that you serve, if there's a tagline that you use, maybe Realtor with a Heart, or Cowgirl Realtor, or whatever the case might be, how you might describe yourself, you can use that line. Know that it's going to translate to your website in that way. You're also going to want to enter your MLS ID here. Make sure you look that up and identify it, because it will have an impact on how data feeds into your IDX from the MLS. And then the vendor ID, that's already going to be populated by kvCore. You do not need to enter your NERDS number. That doesn't translate anywhere on your website or anywhere else in the platform. So you can just leave that one blank. Okay, so already we've got this first section done. Now let's scroll down a little bit and work on contact information. You will see that there are fields for 3 different phone numbers: your cell, your work number, and your direct line. What you want to make sure you understand is that only one phone number will appear on your website. And if you identify all 3 of these, it won't make a difference. Only one will continue to appear on your website. And typically, I believe if you select all 3, it's either going to be your work number or your direct line that's going to end up defaulting to. So if you only want your cell phone, or if you want your cell phone to be the number visible on your website, then only enter a cell phone and click on Show It on Site. Let me show you what happens just so you can see. When you're at the website and then you go to the search feature, at the top of the site on the right hand side, this phone number here is what we're talking about. So this is my cell phone number. This is what I want to populate at the top of that search page. And so that's why I've only entered my cell and clicked on Show on Site. Okay. I have my email address already populated. Obviously, it's your EXP email. I am going to add my non-EXP email address here. You can't use Yahoo or AOL, but if you have an alternate email address, particularly if you have an email address that's branded to you or somehow tied to another domain that represents your website, I encourage you to go ahead and populate that here. Just to continue with some of your email campaigns, you'll have the opportunity to leverage this email address and reinforce that branding. Okay? You'll also want to check off this box, use the email from for notifications so that this email address can be used in those campaigns. Your website will already be populated here. This is going to be your EXP URL. Okay. And now let's take a minute to talk about lender. Lender is a decision that you're going to want to give some thought to. Let's go back to our website. Let's take a look at the landing page. You'll see up at the top, one of the options that you have is finance. If I click on finance, in my case, I have made the decision to partner with a lender, and that lender is Drew Whipple. Drew is someone that I've known for probably 15 of the last 20 years that I've had something to do in real estate, and I know him well, and I know the customer service that he provides to his clients. I've also worked quite a bit with Evesham Mortgage, and I have confidence in their products. So for that reason, I've made the decision to go ahead and partner with him. If you want to pursue partnering with a lender, this is where you would identify who that lender is. There are some additional steps that have to be taken if you have a lender that you want to work with that's not in the EXP selection of lenders. There are just some things that you have to do to get that lender approved. Not difficult, but I'll follow up on that in just a moment to give you some further direction. What you want to think about, though, in this moment as you decide whether you want to work with a lender or not, is that if you choose not to, or at least for now not to, then there are certain aspects of your website that you'll probably want to turn off, because if somebody clicks on finance and it doesn't go anywhere, they're going to view that as a reflection of you and maybe, inattentiveness to the website, when in actuality you've made a decision not to have a lender relationship represented here. Okay? So we'll circle back a little bit on how to review the list of lenders and how to get your lender approved in just a moment. Designations you don't have to indicate here because they don't populate anywhere on the website. Same thing with licenses. Okay, so now we've gone through the left-hand side of this section. Let's talk about the right-hand side, social media. Before you begin to populate all of your social media URLs, this is where you, again, want to give thought to what your social media presence looks like. You're really encouraged to use Facebook business pages, to do a professional Instagram page that represents your business, maybe separately from what you would do with a personal Facebook page or a personal Instagram page. You also have the ability to tie in your Twitter, your LinkedIn. If you have a YouTube channel, what you'll want to do to be able to link these to your website is go to those pages. For example, let me show you if I go to the Facebook page. If I go to my business page in Facebook, okay, once that URL populates at the top, I'm going to copy the entire thing. So I'm going to highlight everything and hit copy, and then I'm going to come back over to my website and paste the entire thing. And when I do that, it will include the HTTPS at the beginning. That's important. In order for the link to work, you need that. That will be the case for Facebook, for Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Instagram. For YouTube, you only have to copy and paste your channel name. You don't need the full URL. And then what will happen once you go to your site, once you enter this information and then save it, typically within a few minutes, but sometimes it might take a little bit longer, these icons will appear up in the top right-hand corner of your landing page, of your home page, and you can just click on one of them. For example, if I click on the Facebook page, and it'll take me directly to my business Facebook page. Okay? So going back to our profile, again, make sure that you're giving some thought to what pages you are linking from your EXP website to your social media presence. I encourage you to have some type of connection here. Whether you want to ramp up your social media presence and have a professional profile that's separate and distinct from personal is another conversation, but you don't just want to leave all of these blank. You want to be able to build a social media footprint. Your real estate license will go here in the license number field. You can leave positions blank. Again, that's another field that they ask for information here in your profile, but doesn't actually transfer to anything on your website. There may be the ability with spoken languages. I don't know of anything currently that ties language to your website, but I think there could potentially be opportunity down the road. So if you do speak additional languages, go ahead and populate that here. Okay. Once you get past copying in your social media links, you want to go ahead and write a short biography about yourself. This is going to translate to your website. So if you scroll down the bottom of your home page, once you get past your widgets, and depending on how you build your website, which we will get to and talk about in detail next time, this is where you'll find your bio. So you don't want something long. It does appear towards the bottom third, I would say, of your website. So you want to be succinct, use a variety of words that give people in 3 or 4 or 5 sentences a glimpse of who you are and what you value in your real estate business or in your life. Okay? When people come to your site and they read about you and your background, they're looking for something that they can connect with you on. Okay? So think about that in the way that you build out your biography. Short and sweet with the best sort of image of what you represent to the person who's reading it. Next, also on your profile, you're going to create an email signature. A couple of things with the signature. This will be used anytime that you send an email campaign through kvCore. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're managing any compliance expectations, both for EXP and for your state broker's office. So in this case, I'm going ahead and using the Montclair office in my email signature. You want to make sure whatever address that you are using is one that you are indeed approved to use. I'm identifying both office and cell numbers. And then I also want to create a link for my website. And the way that I can do that, I'll create a second one here that I can go back and delete so you can see how it works, is I just click on these chains here in the signature panel that says insert or edit a link. Then a window will open and it will give me the chance to drop in a URL, to copy and paste a URL. So I'm going to hop over to my website. I'm going to copy and I'm going to hop back over to kvCore and paste that URL. And then I'm going to give it a name. So come see my site. Okay? And hit save. So now you'll see that it's added that text. Now I already have a link in my signature, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. But so again, I went to this chain link, copied and pasted in the URL, gave it a name so that rather than the URL show in my signature, the title that I give to it, the name that I give to it, is what will show in my email signature. And then I went ahead and hit save. To remove it, I simply backspace or delete it. Okay. Remember I said that you need to understand compliance responsibilities. So I have 2 additional disclaimers that the New Jersey Broker's Office requests we include in email communication as part of my signature. Okay? You can add your logo here. Again, make sure that you're dealing with compliance separately. That's not something that would be covered here. But from a marketing and branding standpoint, just want to make sure all your T's are crossed and I's dotted for your signature. Okay? You'll notice I have also toggled on include signature on all outgoing email. So again, when those email campaigns begin, this is the signature that will be leveraged by kvCore. Now the one thing that we can do at this point is we can scroll back up to the top. We can save our changes, particularly after we've updated our signature. Let's go ahead and send out a test email and see how that signature looks. Okay, the way that I would do that, I'm going to stay right here on the profile screen. I'm going to come over to this button that says Send Email and click on it. When I click on it, I'm just interested right now in seeing what the signature looks like. So I can choose any of these templates from the drop down. It really doesn't matter. Then I want to give that test email a subject. So I'm going to just call it test email format. And then I can hit send. The interesting thing is if I really wanted to know what this particular email message would look like, I would be able to see it here without having to send the email. Okay? But there are a number of other places where you can see it as well. But I really just want to get a sense of what the client experience would be on the receiving end of my email. So I'm going to hit send. Once I do that, I can hop on over to my email. And I can, now oftentimes you will see that it ends up in your junk. And there are some things that you can do on your building, when you're building the email to help avoid that from happening, which I'm not going to go into today. But what I just wanted to make sure of is I wanted to see how my name and email signature came through along with the disclosure information. Okay? So you can go ahead and edit that and change that as you decide to your liking. Just make sure that anytime you make a change, you go back to the top where it says Edit Profile. When you're making those edits, you want to make sure you come back up here and save it again. Okay? All right, let's keep moving forward. Let's take a minute now to circle back on our conversation about using a lender with your website with EXP. Remember, we said that the certain financial features of your website will be impacted whether you choose to have a lender participate or not. In addition, if you go under Resources and Our Resources, you'll have this widget here where you can have a client or a potential lead ask the lending partner a question. Okay, so there are a couple of places where, again, need to give consideration about working with a mortgage lender. If you decide that you want to work with a lender, again, someone that you know, trust, and have an established business relationship with, the next step that you'll want to take is to see if they're part of the EXP list already. To do that, go up to your name up in the top right-hand corner and find Lenders. Once you click on Lenders, you'll see a list of names that will populate. This will be based on your geographic location. So it looks like for my geographic location, there are just a little more than 4 dozen mortgage lenders that have already gone through the approval process. If your lender happens to be listed here, then you're in good shape. You can just go back to your profile here, click on the Edit Profile button, scroll down, and on the left-hand side, go ahead and identify, just click on the magnifying glass, find the lender, that's the list that the lenders are pulling from, and then populate that lender here. But if you're in a position where you've gone to that list of lenders and your lender is not there, you'll want to go ahead and get them approved. Make sure you have a conversation with the loan officer first, that they're on board, because they will be working jointly with you to address leads and handle questions and try to convert, obviously, potential buyers into clients. So you want to make sure that it's someone that you're ready to work with, that's ready to work with you. There is a form that has to get completed. It looks like this, where you'll give your information, the lender's information, and then submit. You're not giving, it's not a long questionnaire. You're basically just providing contact information. Now, the way that you can get this form is go into Workplace, and you'll want to find in Workplace the group kvCore Discussion. This is a closed group. So once you find kvCore Discussion, you will want to request access to join the group. And then once you do that, which typically happens very quickly, once you do that, you can go ahead and use the search feature within the group and just type in lender template, scroll down 1 or 2 entries, and you'll come upon it pretty quickly. Okay, you can just click on that link. This is the form that will populate, and then hit submit to request that your lender be added. Once your request is reviewed and approved, typically within a day or 2, it doesn't take long, you'll get an email notification if the loan officer has indeed been approved. At that point, the loan officer, not you, but the loan officer, will receive notification from kvCore via email with an invitation for them to complete their profile. When they log in and complete their profile, this is what they are populating. Their biography and their contact information will then appear on your finance page. Okay? They need to do this from their own login. You cannot enter this information on your website. Okay? This has to come from the loan officer's login. They'll also provide their license information. And then if a client comes here and has a mortgage question and they hit send, that email request is going to go directly to the lender, okay, who's identified here that you're partnering with. So that's how lenders work in kvCore. So we've made some great pace today, and we just have a couple of last components of our profile that I want to review with you before we wrap up and take a look at what's ahead. Over on the right-hand side of your profile page, take a quick look at settings. These are just a couple of, honestly, maybe a little bit random settings, but it's good to know that this is where they're located. If you wanted to be able to manage certain aspects of your kvCore, either if maybe you were on vacation, out sick, maybe you knew you were going to be in meetings for a stretch of days or at a conference, you can remove yourself from rotation or mark yourself as on vacation from settings here in your profile. You also have the ability to identify, remember we said that kvCore is task driven. So as you start to build campaigns and activities that include calling clients and leads, you can set some parameters here under settings that will impact how those task lists are generated. You can identify how many calls you want to limit yourself to a day or not. You can go the opposite way and be ambitious, but maybe you know that you can't do more than 5 or 10 calls in a day. You can identify that here. If you only want to call certain clients, maybe only calling active leads or only calling new leads, you can identify those types here. You can also remove them by clicking on the X. Okay. If you leave auto create on, then that's going to automatically fill into your task list and to your dashboard every day. Okay. You also here have the ability to say that you do want to make phone calls on these holidays. It's automatically defaulted to off, but you can change it to on. That could be of value to you if you like to make phone calls, for example, to veterans on Veterans Day. You can build a campaign around that, and you'll just want to make sure that you identify here under settings that Veterans Day would be a day that you turn on to have data populate in your dashboard with tasks. Okay, that's something else I wanted to show you in settings. Remember, send email was where we sent a test email that you could sort of visualize the experience from a recipient's end, from a client's end, what it would be like to receive an email message from you. Always can check your email signature that way. You can also change your password here from your profile page as well. This next box, the daily call task creation, is just reflective of all of the settings that we reviewed up above by clicking on that gear settings button. Okay. One other thing that you want to make sure of is that you have the proper representation for your office. At this point, if you've gotten this far in your profile and this isn't right, then we probably missed a few clues along the way. So you should be all set at this point. The other two things that I just want to mention before we conclude and talk about what's coming up ahead is going back to Marketplace. If you participate in more than one MLS, or if you participate on a team where you are actively routing leads amongst members of the team, then you may want to consider a couple of additional options in Marketplace to expand your kvCore subscription. If you participate in a second MLS, for example, and you're an individual agent, your domain can only accommodate one MLS. So in order to be able to accommodate a second MLS, you would need a second domain, which you would come and purchase here in the Marketplace. You would manage your subscriptions, purchase the second domain. I'm not exactly sure of the fee for that, but it would be done here. And then what you could do is you could differentiate so that maybe with, for example, if I participated in Nexus and Garden State MLS, maybe for my domain with my Nexus website, I might specifically reference South Jersey, or maybe here connecting South Jersey with Home Sweet Home. And maybe for Garden State, I might indicate connecting Central Jersey, or I might list specific counties, okay? But that would be the idea behind getting a second domain in order to accommodate a second MLS where you have a heavy presence, a high presence. The other thing that you can consider is a team platform. If you are a team leader and have a team where you are purchasing leads, for example, or you participate in Zillow, or you just want to be able to have a place where you can monitor how the leads that you're distributing are being managed and converted, and build in some analytics around that, then you might want to consider upgrading your individual platform that eXp offers you to a team platform, which again, you can do here through the marketplace. You can also use the chat feature to get with a representative to talk through what the pros and cons of making that conversion might be. There will be additional cost there as well, but that's something that you might really want to consider and research if indeed you are on a team or involved in a team that supports sharing of leads. So here we are. We've come to the end of our first week's session with our kvCore basic training. So now it's time to outline homework. First thing, where do you need to take action? You're going to take what you learned today, and these are the follow-up items that you have on your to-do list. You want to make sure you go ahead and activate your kvCore account if you haven't already. Go ahead and set up your profile just like we walked through today. We did it in an hour or less. You can too. This is a good time when setting up your profile to review and possibly consider ramping up your social media footprint, maybe changing up some of your personal social media accounts to business accounts, Google Business, Facebook for Business, Instagram business pages. Those are all things to consider. Also, remember we talked about the value of a personal smart number. Consider adding that to your kvCore subscription. Decide, do you want to partner with a lender and know that you have to take action to get that lender approved and participating in kvCore in many cases. And then, do you have a need for an additional domain? Again, action there would be required in Marketplace to expand on your existing subscription. You also want to give some thought to a couple of other aspects of your kvCore. You do have the ability to take a branded domain or purchase a vanity domain that could then point to your eXp Realty website. Those are slightly more advanced than what we were going to cover today, but you absolutely, in your effort to continue to enforce your personal brand in your marketplace, have a domain that forwards to your eXp website. And also, it's just important to understand that there is an option for a team platform with kvCore that might better suit your business than the individual platform. So now let's give some thought to what's coming up next week. You're going to begin to compile your client and customer database in a formatted template that kvCore provides. And I also want to encourage you to start giving some thought to hashtags. We will go into a lot more detail in this when we actually talk through building your client database, but hashtags are kvCore's way of saying, give a person as many labels and categories as you can possibly imagine or think up. So that maybe I want to identify all of my clients by their birthday month. That would be one hashtag. Maybe I am a car enthusiast and want to identify certain clients or contacts in my database as similar car enthusiasts. Maybe I have pet lovers that I want to identify. Maybe I want to be able to identify veterans. Maybe I want to be able to identify those who celebrate Christmas versus those who honor Hanukkah. The idea of hashtag in kvCore goes well beyond the typical sort of rational, obvious buyer, seller, past buyer, past seller. Those are all important. They're all important hashtags or labels to give your clients definition in kvCore's platform. But I'm saying start to think beyond that. If you really wanted to map out your clients, what are some of the most imaginative ways that you could describe them and think up some interesting campaigns? Okay, so just kind of let that roll around for a little bit in your head because we have a week or two to go. Next week, we're going to turn our attention to your website and how you can really begin to add a level of personalization and convey to the public who you are and how you run your business, all through that website and through your continued investment in kvCore. So thank you so much for your time today. I hope you found it useful and helpful and motivating to get you going in kvCore. Now get to it with your profile, and I will see you next time to work on that website.